Thank you both so much for having me today. Merci. I would love to start with this beautiful new feminine fragrance. Perfume is becoming more and more unisex, but this was a very bold decision to create something distinctly feminine. So this is very much made for women.
I think that is probably a little bit conceptual in terms of the brand. I think from the very beginning that they wanted a feminine fragrance. And I think that Boss, maybe because they flirted with this ambiguity, in terms of the fashion, also fragrances in the past, that are actually becoming distinctly feminine. Maybe it's like they're going in the opposite direction, the contre-coup in terms of what everyone else is doing. Because there's a masculine fragrance as well that's beyond, I think it has to be distinctly feminine.
I think
otherwise people get confused. Or already sometimes the names are confusing with Boss, which Boss it is.
Sure.
So I think you definitely can't have gender confusion. That's my.
Les fragrances sont donc de plus en plus unisexes.
Oui, c'est ça.
Moi, je crois pas vraiment, sauf pour la niche.
Ok.
Je suis assez d'accord pour la niche.
C'est logique, ouais.
Mais pas tellement pour les marques qui sont très mainstream. Là, en l'occurrence, le seul lien entre le masculin et le féminin, c'est d'avoir pris la dualité de deux éléments forts du départ de la création. Nous, ça a été un choix commun avec Quentin de partir sur ce sirop d'érable. Ça a été un long travail, des discussions. On est tombé d'accord sur cette extraction de sirop d'érable faite dans des fûts qui apporte le côté boisé de chêne, le côté gourmand, mais tout l'aspect balsamique qui est hyper important dans la note. Et le but était de se détacher d'une gourmandise classique, overdose d'éthylmaltol et tout ça. Et on a réussi à créer une gourmandise, une addiction qu'on n'a pas sentie encore. Après, tout le travail a été de la pivoine, l'idée de Louise, d'associer les deux et de tirer la quintessence des deux pôles et que ce soit harmonieux, en tête, en cœur, en fond. On parlait de la pivoine, on en a parlé tout à l'heure. La pivoine avec toutes ses facettes roses, avec des effets mugués, un peu miellés, les effets verts. Mais en fond, c'est très texturé. Moi, ça m'a rappelé tout à l'heure, je ne sais pas pourquoi j'ai eu un flash, c'est vrai que les odeurs de miel, l'addiction du miel, qu'on peut retrouver dans certaines pivoines et qu'on peut retrouver dans le maple syrup. C'était assez harmonieux. Puis bon, bien sûr, ça a été enrichi de plein de choses. Le juiciness, parce qu'il faut quand même amener de la lumière. Et on veut quand même que ce nouveau féminin apporte encore plus de féminité à l'image Boss, plus de joie, plus de couleurs, plus de gaieté, plus de plein de choses.
Comme vous avez dit, le côté mielé de la pivoine, c'est pour ça que ça mélange hyper bien avec le sirop d'érable. Parce qu'en tête, c'est vraiment, comment dire, like disparate, very different.
Yeah, exactement.
Le côté mielé dans le côté gustatif.
C'est souvent perçu comme négatif. Donc,
ouais, animal, négatif.
Il faut traiter ça d'une façon, à piton. Donc, ça veut dire c'est un côté miel. Parce que parfois, ça fait un peu encaustique. Tu sais, le floor polish.
Et là, c'est plutôt un côté addiction. La cuillerée de miel qu'on vient tremper, ça m'a rappelé ça.
I think it's nice as well, having a different view and a different vision on a fragrance, that we're not all the same. We bring different things to it. And I think that's the interest of having multiple perfumers, definitely. As well as obviously all the kind of practical aspect of sharing the load.
Yeah, absolutely. I'm just thinking, like you're saying, you're mixing these different elements, like the freshness of the pivoine, of the peony, which to me reminds me of springtime, and then sirop d'érable, which very much maple syrup to me, especially as an American, is very autumnal. It reminds me of the fall. And so they're two almost disparate energies that you've seamlessly melded together. Were there any clues that showed you that these two things could work harmoniously, could sort of dance together and create a very seamless fusion that doesn't feel disparate in its final product?
When you've got two things that seem so kind of incongruous, one would say it to start with, it's always really nice to find these links. I think that I like working with links, that there's a reason why you choose it. I like the idea of the honey. I think that makes a nice link. I think as well it was like looking to build femininity and contrast. And then the link comes through the fact that the peony has also some spicy notes, and I think that the maple syrup does as well. I think that the peony was obviously something that's quite green, a little bit muguet, obviously rosy. I think also rosy notes somehow as well. The maple syrup, there's something, I suppose it's the honey. It gives you this kind of warmth. Also as a perfumer, it's like looking for links and looking for contrast. And then it's the job of actually trying to make it all fit together, which which obviously when we talk about the 2 accords, it makes it sound very simple, but obviously then it's like there's a lot of work behind the scenes to actually make
faire fusionner ça, oui,
to make them actually, to make it a fragrance that is coherent, that smoothly transitions from top to base without, there's no sort of like,
right, it's not sharp edges.
And there's no edges.
You can experience the duality à la fois without that kind of separation. And I feel like that very much echoes something you said a little bit earlier when you were saying that this sort of echoes the boss woman, how it is distinctly feminine, but there is a duality within this particular woman.
Yeah.
Did you have une femme en tête, like a muse, someone, even if it's an abstract version of a woman, did you have someone who you were building this fragrance for?
Vous y vous en montrez la pub? Non, pas du tout.
Ah oui, c'est pour les 3 femmes?
Oui.
Ok.
Déjà, on voit la différence d'âge, mais d'univers des 3 femmes. Il y a une sportive,
Carrière, ouais.
il y a une chanteuse hyper branchée, et puis la classe de Jessica Chastain, l'actrice. Je pense pas qu'on puisse juste être restrictif et te dire c'est pour une classe d'âge. C'est pour une femme épanouie, pleine de couleurs, pleine de vie pour moi.
I think as well, I suppose it's for whoever finds themselves in it. You know, I think fragrances, you never know exactly whether you're going to like it or not. When we create, we're creating to obviously to please the people, please ourselves, because I think we have to like it ourselves, because it's impossible to create something you don't like yourself.
Right.
So I think that this whole process, I don't know, we never really know. You know, I think it's like hopefully will touch people, and I think that's the thing. I suppose it's the emotional side of it. Is if you manage to transmit an emotion through a fragrance, then it will touch the people that it's supposed to touch. That's the way I look at it.
And I like the concept of this duality with this, I believe you said almost like an androgynous style. And
I think it's important to have that. And I think it's, you know, that which is very Boss. I think that Boss has got that kind of, you know, it's something maybe I shouldn't say androgynous, because obviously they're looking as a femininity that is, you know, more present. And I think that the fragrance, it expresses that as well. But I think it remains something that it is part of the DNA of Boss. I mean, it's not a brand that's overtly feminine, you know.
Right. It's not frilly, it's not precious.
No, it's not like Chloe. Chloe is much more overtly feminine. And
thank you so much. This was a
very
beautiful
welcome.
discovery.
Yes.
J'adore le parfum.